G'day folks, I'm actually kind of on the road this week up to Brisbane, and so needing to do this video on the run, but kind of sitting in my car here, having a little break. I want to talk about three things, the things I shared on Sunday in church. Number one, weekend away reflection. Number two, property update. And number three, just kind of general ministry giving update. So hang in there. These are important things for us to think about together. Weekend away reflection. I've got sore cheeks from smiling as I think back about that weekend and so many of the things that God enabled for us to experience together. It was a cracking weekend. But one of the big things that I think contributed to it being a great time together was the intentionality that so many of you brought to that weekend. I think that was really clear. So many of you were intentional in coming to contribute and with an intention to connect and care for and love and invest in and make the most of the time that we had together on the weekend. I think that's one of the key things that made it such a helpful weekend. And I want to encourage you to think about being just as intentional as we gather on Sundays. And particularly as we kind of head into winter in our gatherings, I think as much intention and preparation you can have in your heart to be there every week in our gatherings and decide to think about where you'll sit and who you'll chat to and how you can actually love and care for and serve as part of our gatherings. That will help our gatherings be encouraging, and you'll get more out of it. So let's carry that intention into all the times we get to be together, and understanding that will help the times be really good when we're together. Second thing, property update. We've settled on that house, 63 Albury, that has been sold to us as a church. And so we've got the keys, and we got that just before the weekend away. Over the last week or so, there's been a bit of repair work going on. And here's a picture of Harry and Larry fixing roof sheets on the house. Drekus has been involved, Richie's involved, Mason's involved. There's a number of guys involved in doing some repair work on the house to get it ready for a tenant to move into, which we've actually got lined up. Encouragingly, we're able to rent out to a not-for-profit NDIS service provider called Coffs Harbour Support Services, and so they'll actually be renting the place off us, and it's really suitable for them and their clients, and so that's kind of a great news story. What this means though, now that we've bought a house, it means obviously we've got a loan with the bank, and so now we've got debt, and that debt is approximately the figure of $360,000. That's the debt we've now got, that we've got to learn how to manage and pay down. And the way we're going to attempt to do that is through two ways. Number one, we're going to have a tenant that we rent out to. That's going to help us manage the debt. But also the ongoing property giving that you and I give into the property account will help us manage that debt and pay it down hopefully as quick as we can. So as you'll know, we've got two main bank accounts in church. We've got our ministry account and we've got our property account. Any giving to the property account now goes towards paying down that debt. And our goal would be to pay down the debt as quickly as we can, so that we can then move on to the next step on this kind of property journey that we've begun now. And just to remind you, here's the journey. We've taken the first step. It's a investment property, and there's likely going to be a number of steps that go from here until we find ourselves in a position where we could aim to purchase a building that we actually use for church. And so there's the journey that we're on. Contribute as you're able to the property. Wouldn't it be good to pay down that loan as quickly as we can, so we can then take the next step? I'll bring an update every 3 months about how finances are going, and in that update I'll give you an update as to how that debt is going and how quickly we're paying it down. We are wanting though the property project really to be somewhat of a side focus that we just chip away at and we It's not the main focus of church at all. It's just something we're doing on the side, partly because we do have a primary focus when we're thinking about finances this year, and that is to actually raise our ministry giving. So again, those two property accounts. The ministry account is the one that pays for the ongoing running costs of church, and that is actually does need to be our focus this year. We do need to raise the amount of money coming into the ministry account that pays for the running costs of church. Here's how we've gone so far this year for the first 5 months of the year. You can see the bar chart there. That solid orange line is our target, what we're trying to get to each month of the year. You can see we've gone over it one of the months, but the other months we've been just under it. So we actually carry a bit of a deficit according to the target we're trying to hit. That target, that solid orange line, is about 18% up on last year, and we're needing to take considerable steps up in our giving, because you can see the actual running costs of church, that dotted orange line above it, is something that we really need to get to in the following year. So here's the big step we're trying to take this year, and then the following year, we're needing to stand on our own feet. Church runs simply by your giving and my giving, and so together we're trying to raise that giving to pay for the ministry costs of church. If we can't hit our target this year, it's going to mean some tricky decisions going into next year. We're likely going to need to scale back what we're attempting to do. And just so you know, on a really kind of practical level, that looks like having a hard time paying for a kids and youth pastor next year. How can we not set aside someone to be leading and sitting over the top of our kids and youth? But in order to actually fund that position with confidence going into next year, we really need to hit our target this year. So please consider your giving. This is just the reality of life as church. If you're someone who's part of church and you're living with a conception that church doesn't need your giving, it does. Together, all of our giving contributes towards paying for the running costs of church, and there's so much more work to do on the Coffs Coast. So there's a bit of a giving update, ministry giving, and also a bit of a property update. Hope that's helpful. Have a great week. What are we in this week? Genesis, kind of Isaac, Abraham. Hope you enjoy that passage. We've actually got Chris Eakins preaching this coming Sunday, so you can look forward to that. Enjoy your groups. Have a great week. Love ya.